Hello and welcome to our channel, where we explore the fascinating history and culture of ancient civilizations. Today we are going to talk about Mesopotamia's social structure. We will see how people were divided into different groups based on their wealth, power, occupation, and status. Mesopotamia is considered the birthplace of civilization. The area between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers offered rich farmland to grow crops and domesticate animals. When people started settling in towns, the population grew, and a need for a system of writing and law developed. With those came government and social class systems. The ruling class was on the top of the pyramid. The king was the supreme ruler of a city, region, or empire. He was thought to have a special relationship with the gods and to be an intermediary between the divine and earthly worlds. He was responsible for maintaining law and order, expanding his territory, protecting his people, and performing religious rituals. He also had a large court of officials, advisors, and servants who helped him with his duties. The houses of kings were the most magnificent and exquisite. They had several floors and many rooms with windows facing gardens or terraces. They had furniture made of wood, ivory, bronze or gold, decorated with carving, inlay or enamel. They had carpets, curtains, frescoes and statues to adorn their houses. They slept on luxurious beds with silk sheets, blankets and pillows. They had bathrooms with plumbing and sewage systems. Great kings such as Sargon of Akkad, Hammurabi, Ashurbanipal, and Nebuchadnezzar become semi-divine figures who played a central role in Mesopotamian history. However, the king wasn't always the be-all of Mesopotamian society, at least, not the only one. During its earliest history, Mesopotamian cities were governed by priestly rulers. In addition to performing their sacred duties, they engaged in the crucial yet tedious work, such as record-keeping, wealth distribution, and control over the economic sectors of life in ancient Mesopotamia. The second level of the pyramid was occupied by the upper class. This group consisted of wealthy and influential members of society. The nobles were the relatives or allies of the king who held high positions in the government or the military. They were granted large estates or lands by the king in exchange for their loyalty and service. The upper class also included minor priests, military leaders, wealthy landowners, and scribes. The scribes were the literate professionals who wrote and recorded everything in Mesopotamia. They were placed in the upper class for these qualities and also for working for the king. Below the upper class was a small middle class made up of those that kept the city functioning daily. Merchants traveled by land or by water, using carts, boats, or caravans. Craftsmen created various products such as cloths, weapons, baskets, dishes, and furniture. Artisans made paintings, sculptures, reliefs, mosaics, tapestries, and embroideries worth pleasing to gods. Smiths worked their forges conscientiously. The middle class lived in modest houses made of mud bricks, usually with 1 or 2 floors and several rooms. They had some furniture and personal belongings, such as tables, chairs, chests, pots, and clothes. They slept on beds of straw or reeds, sometimes with blankets and pillows. The largest group of the Mesopotamian social classes was the lower class, who were free but poor citizens. Farmers were the most common occupation of the lower class. They worked on the fields or orchards. They also raised animals. In addition to agriculture, lower-class people could find employment in a great variety of occupations such as butchers, fishermen, shepherds, carpenters, basket weavers, soldiers, and much more. Servants were another occupation of the lower class. They worked in the houses of the upper class or the temples. They also worked as personal attendants, such as hairdressers, barbers, masseurs, or cupbearers. The houses of poor people were very modest and simple. They had 1 floor and 1 or 2 rooms. They had no furniture except for rugs and baskets for storing things. Poor people slept on the floor or on mats of straw or reeds. Despite the class categorization, every single one of them had a chance to climb the ladder towards the higher classes. One of the tavern keepers named Kababa rose to become the queen of the city of Kish and the only woman to be included in the Sumerian king list. Slaves were at the bottom of social hierarchy. They had no legal rights or status and were considered the property of their owners. Slaves performed back-breaking work in the arena of construction such as walls, forts, roads, and other buildings. Slaves worked in any occupation that their owners assigned them to, such as farming, laboring, serving, fighting, or entertaining. Slaves lived in crowded barracks or cellars under the houses of their owners or employers. So we have seen that social structure of the society of ancient Mesopotamia was highly stratified and hierarchical. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. See you next time.